LLC owners, welcome back to part 2 of my video where I am going to give you 4 more ways on things you can do to avoid a headache come tax time. Nobody wants to get their taxes done, and they certainly don't want a headache. So let's tap into some things that you can do to avoid it, because you gotta do the taxes. That's for sure. One thing that you can do is keep track of your bases and your property. A lot of you are out there purchasing property, you're purchasing cars, you're purchasing real estate. Whatever you purchased it for, that's your cost basis. When you add additional improvements to it, maybe you paint the car, maybe you do some landscaping, all of these things add to your cost basis. And it's really important that your cost basis is tracked properly for the future gain or loss on the sale, or the exchange, or the disposition of the asset. I don't think LLC owners know that, so I want you to track your cost basis, get a little ledger, write down what you paid for it, and anytime you do anything to it, keep track of that too, because it also speaks to how much depreciation you can take as a write-off. The second thing I want you to do is please file your tax returns, and please file them timely. Too many of you are coming to me saying, I didn't make any money in my LLC, so I didn't need to file. Once you create an LLC, you absolutely have to file that tax return. Do not let your tax returns go years and years and years without filing, because you may get that big deal, and the next thing you know, your LLC is going to be suspended at the Secretary of State, and everybody's going to know about it, and you may miss out on an opportunity. The third thing you need to make sure that you're doing is support the items on your tax return. Bottom line is, don't make it up. Do not do that. You actually want to have support for the things that you are taking as a tax deduction on your tax return. And you need to make sure that you have a complete set of books and records. Why do I say that to you? Let me tell you why. Because you are an entity now. You are registered with the Secretary of State, and IRS may knock on your door and examine your entity, because that's what they do. It's the normal course of business. That's why the fourth thing I want you to understand is what type of record should you keep. Number 1, you have to have a record system that is suitable for business. And what that basically means, that if you're audited, IRS needs to be able to distinguish your income and distinguish your expenses, and it needs to be clear. Literally clear. If they cannot figure it out, your record keeping is not on point. So let me tell you the things that you need to make sure that you're keeping. You absolutely need to keep your bank statements for 7 years. And those bank statements need to be a separate business account. Not your personal account, but a separate business account. Now, could it be a personal account that you only use for business? Absolutely, if that's all you have. But in an ideal world, it's going to be a business account with the name of your LLC on it. You also need to make sure you keep track of every single thing you pay. And when I say keep track of every single thing you pay, I know you're thinking, well, Carla, we just auto debit everything. It's going to show up on our bank statement, right? Right, except for it's not enough. IRS wants the invoice that the business sent to you. If those invoices are being kept in an online portal where you can log in, I am going to suggest that you log in today and download all of those expenses. IRS also wants to see your method of payment. If you paid by some type of third-party app, which I don't recommend, and that's a topic for another video, but if you're doing that, you need to make sure that that is showing up on your bank statement. You make a copy of that line item, you got your invoice, and you got great documentation. If you are paying these things by credit card, you need to have the credit card statement and the invoice to show that you paid it. You need both for it to be a tax deductible expense. Do not say, oh, it's all on my Amex card, my management report. It's very important that you document things properly. I want to summarize all 8 things you need to know to avoid a headache come tax time. Number 1, understand what records you need to keep. Number 2, prepare your financial statements. Number 3, identify your sources of income. Number 4, keep track of your deductible expenses. Number 5, keep track of your bases and property. Number 6, make sure you file your tax return. Number 7, make sure you know what items you need to support the deductions on your tax return. And number 8, make sure you're keeping the proper records in the event of an audit. I really hope that you enjoyed those 8 things to avoid that headache. Aside from that, you may need a Tylenol. But what I want you to do if you enjoyed this video is to turn on post notifications, like, comment, and subscribe so that you will not miss out on great videos just like this.